Morning, class. I wanted to check in with you guys and see how you're all doing and let you know a little bit more about the exam that is coming up. Now, first off, listen closely. It's not a timed exam. It's not something where a window opens up and you have to type and do it. It's an essay exam. So you are preparing the essay, and hopefully, as conveyed in the orientation, you have been preparing for that essay all along using the note card strategy. To remind you, please do at least attempt this advice. It makes writing essays in college, which you're going to have to do from time to time. So you might as well do it in a manner that's tried and true for millions, perhaps even billions of college students who have attempted this and made it a disciplined practice. When you come across, wait, hold on, let me get actually to it. So to get to, if you haven't seen this yet, hopefully you have, but if you have not seen this yet, you're going to go to Unit 1. You're going to go to the Unit 1 essay folder at the bottom here. It's the last thing due. And by the way, let me just go back to here, just so we're all on the same page. It is due September 16th, right? So that is coming up soon. It is a mini-mester. All right, so right here, we're going to go to the instructions, click the link. Your prompt is evaluate the contradictions between the development of slavery and self-government from the colonial to the revolutionary era, 1607 to 1776. So as you come across information, there's a couple of things there. If you're going to evaluate the contradictions between slavery and self-government, first you have to address the development of slavery and self-government. So as you come across information that helps you respond to how slavery developed in British America, colonial America, write some of that information down. It might be a quick quote. It might be a law that was passed. It might be a historical individual, some dates, a passage from a primary document, whatever the case is, on one side. So you don't want it to be a huge body of information. It's just a quick piece of data that you're putting in here. On the other side, write down where you got it from, right? Learning objective or chapter 2, learning objective 3. Put it aside, right? Sure. And do this as you are taking notes for the learning objectives. So you're going through your daily routine for this course, preparing for the quizzes. Do this as you are doing the work. It's sort of like when you're trying to clean a house, right? You don't want to touch things twice. You want to get everything clean as you go. Please take this advice. It makes it much more manageable. It makes for a lot better organized papers. Because what happens is that if you work as you go and you have a collection of note cards at the end, you lay them all out and then you begin to see, you can move the cards around in a coherent way so you can begin to develop your paper around your pieces of information that you have laid out on your desk or your table. You get your computer, your tablet, your laptop, whatever it is you're using, and then you write your thesis and your narrative of your essay around the information that you have in front of you. Right. Other thing you want to keep in mind about this is that you are required, let's go through this real quick. Referring to the reading, do not use outside sources. Let me repeat that again. Do not use outside sources. There's plenty of information within this course to respond to this. You will lose significant points if I see anything from outside sources, and it's very easy to tell if it's from outside sources. Write a 3 to 5 page paper, right? 12 font, 1.5 space. Not very difficult, right? It's not a very long paper. So just keep that in mind. Your paper must refer to at least 6 secondary sources, right? So what is a secondary source? A secondary source is anything that you have been assigned in the learning objectives, more or less. A secondary source is information either in terms of a textbook, in terms of a documentary, looking at history outside of the historical time period that you're talking about. So it's reflecting back to, it's a historian, it's your history instructor, me, writing notes, talking about the colonial era. It's a secondary source, right? And those secondary sources are used from, reading further, your paper must refer to at least 2 primary sources. Primary sources, let's just click this real quick. So primary sources are documents, artifacts, information from that historical time period. So you see right here, we have Native American creation stories, we have Journal of Christopher Columbus, we have Bartolome de las Casas describes the exploitation of indigenous people in 1542, that kind of a thing. All right. So your paper must refer to 2 primary sources. If you need more information right there, you just simply click and it'll give you the definition of what a primary source is, what a secondary source is, and examples of such. But don't overthink it. It's not too big of a distinction. Secondary sources is basically what's in history textbooks and documentaries. My video lectures, those are secondary sources. Primary sources are journals, newspaper articles, laws, actual law documents, letters that were produced, written at the time period in which you're studying, from the historical individuals that you are studying. Let's see here, where were you? Okay, so here are the list of primary sources that you can refer to. There's a whole bunch of them. You only have to list 2. Now keep in mind, these 2 keywords here, at least, right? So that's minimum. Don't hesitate to add more sources to the information. Now you're using a format called Chicago Turabian. This also you don't want to overthink. A lot of students treat this as almost like a math equation that they have to know the formula. There is a formula to it, but you just simply follow the examples. So here's some information. This is just an example of how to do footnotes. You're going to footnote and you're going to provide a works cited page, right? It gives you all of the examples right there. If you go through this and this doesn't help, there's this website called Google. Use it for this, not for your content, but you can use Google for this. Google, right? So you're going to Google footnoting websites, Chicago Turabian. So I'm saying footnoting websites because most of the information you're getting is from the course website. So how do I format that? So you push search here, and here we go. Here we go. We have a guide, and you can also do so. You got plenty of information right here. You could also, if you go through this and you're still not being able to figure it out from the examples here, not to worry. Put in site. Look for a site engine. This. You guys have no idea how great you have it. We didn't have, back when I was a kid, we didn't have this kind of site engine stuff, right? We had to actually have books, and we had to go through it, and we had to make sure everything was perfect. You find site engines right on the internet that'll do all of the work for you. So, how to reference a website in Chicago Turabian, right? So here's the formula right here. Last name, first name, page title. Now you might not even have that, but if you're citing it from me, it's from my website. Most of the stuff that I'm producing is from me, except for the documentaries, but and some of the articles. But my name is Robert Kennedy, so you just follow that. And retrieve data access. Let's see, does this have an engine? This does not have an engine. Let me find an engine. So here is an engine, right? So we're going to do website. One second, let me get a website. Okay, let's say I found some groovy information in Chapter 2, Learning Objective 3. I want to talk about Bacon's Rebellion to explain the development of slavery. So I simply click there. All right, and there's some information. There's a quote in here I'm going to use, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm citing something from this particular link. So first thing I want to do is copy paste that. I'm going to go to right here. Where's the engine at? I just had it. Yeah, here we go. So here's the engine right here. It's already on website. It's marked Chicago website. it's saying, okay, put in the website that you want to cite. Search websites, it's going to come up. Right. Okay, it's only found this the exact link that it found. I don't know if it'll find more ever, but make sure you know exactly what it is you're citing. Here's what we found. Okay, it's found this, found that. Final step, click that and see what happens. And here is what it found. Okay, so for contributors, I'm the author, but you don't have to necessarily do that. So you can click remove here, right? So you have website title, United States History at South Texas College. That'll suffice. It has the URL right there. You don't know when it was electronically published because you didn't create the website, but you can put in date access there, right? Then you create citation, and there is your citation, right? You can put, in addition to here, Robert Kennedy at the beginning of it if you like. You can do that as well. Copy and paste, create the footnote. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. United States history, blah, blah, blah. That's the footnote right there, pages. Create your footnote citation here, then copy and paste it. Cool. So, again, don't overthink it. Just plug in the information. And I think I haven't used it yet because back when I do it the old-fashioned way, because that's what was drilled into us when we were students. But in Word document, if you go to reference, they also have a citation engine. So use whatever works for you. So if you haven't started yet, today is the day to start. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. Just get through it. Don't overthink it. Do remember, it's not a zero-sum game, right? A lot of students get all tripped up and I have to get an A, I have to get an A. Forget about the A, right? Do your very best with the intention of learning the material. This is incredibly important information we are studying here. We're talking about the history of slavery and the history of self-government and the development of that and the contradictions that are still smacking us in the face to this very second. So please, please, please make sure that you are using this as an opportunity to better understand why this world is the way it is today, right? Because this isn't just something that's in the dusty bins of history. This is something that we are still dealing with today. We are still having these conversations. Just look at the news today. Look at what's going on in the sports arena with whatever you think of football players not standing up for the Star-Spangled Banner or not. That is an indication that we are still having these conversations in different manifestations. Here's your opportunity to see the origins of where these conversations can go for. So when you want to formulate an opinion for yourself to share with friends and family or on Facebook or on Twitter or just within the own theater of your own mind, you have a more dimensional outlook at where these conversations are coming from. That is what history is all about. All right, go forth and be great. Do let me know if you have any questions. But again, don't overthink the citation. Use this method and start today. Take care. Bye-bye.